How to find input-output pattern rule. I am Anil Kumar, and in this video we will learn different ways of finding input-output pattern rules. Let's make one pattern rule and then figure it out. So let us say we'll make a T table. So in this T table we have inputs and outputs. At times we refer inputs as term numbers. So let me use the word term number. So we have term number, and in that case the output will be term value. For simplicity, let me use term numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and so on. Okay. So let these be our inputs. And let me take output for the first number as 3, and then we'll increase by 2 each time. So we'll get 3 plus 2 as 5, 5 plus 2 7, 9, 11 and so on. So we got one pattern. We'll call this as input-output pattern. Since we give input of 1, we get output of 3. For input of 2, output is 5 and so on. Now one way to write a pattern rule for any pattern for given like this is to describe in terms of first number and how it is increasing or decreasing. We call that as recursive pattern rule. So that is recursive pattern rule. Now recursive pattern rule in this case will be start at 3 and then what do you do? Increase by 2 each time. So how do we get this pattern rule? You can see we are starting at 3. Then if I go from 3 to 5, then 5 minus 3 is 2, right? 5 minus 3 equals to 2. And then from 5 to 7, we know 7 minus 5 is also 2. And similarly, 9 minus 7 is 2. So we are adding 2 each time, right? So when we say increase by 2, it is as good as saying plus 2 each time. So either way, right? Now that's a good and easy way of writing the pattern rule. But the difficulty here is, if I say for my, let's say 6, 7, 8, 9, for my 10th input, what is going to be my output? Now if I'm using this pattern rule, then I have to continue this pattern, right? For all the numbers before 10, so I have to find what is 9th term number and its value, what is 8th, 7th, 6th and so on, right? So in this case, if I continue, then I'll get 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Here I'm going to add 2 each time, so I'll get 13, 15, 17, 19 and 21. So finally I get my value that for the 10th term the answer should be 21 as the term value or the output. Imagine I want the term value for my 100th term. In that case I'll have to do it 90 more times. So that will be very laborious, right? Now how to solve this problem? To solve this problem, we use another kind of rule, and that is called as explicit pattern rule. So we call that as explicit pattern rule. Now I'll discuss with you how to find explicit pattern rule. Now for that, we use the information which is given to us. Two important things to see from here are, first, what is our starting number? We also call that as the initial value, right? So we say start at 3, So that is our starting number. So we say start at or starting number. We also call this as initial value. So that is important for us. And second is this common difference. We are increasing by 2. That means the difference between the consecutive terms is 2. We call this as common difference. In our case, we know that the starting number for us is 3, right? And the common difference is 2. Now, can you figure out how to get explicit pattern rule? That means, how can we get this answer directly from the term number 10 using these two things? What you will note here is that if you want to find the term value for fourth term, how many 2's do you add? 1 less than 4, 3, right? So that gives you the rule. So for the 10th term, so the output should be how much? Starting value, which is 3, plus how many 2's? 9 2's, 1 less than 10. So 9 2's, 9 times 2, which gives us 3 plus 18, and that is indeed 21. Do you see that? Now, that is the power of explicit pattern rule. Now, if I want to find the value for, let us say, 100th term, then I will do 3, the starting value, plus 1 less than 100 is 99. 99 times 2. Correct? So that means 3 plus 99 times 2. 100 times 2 is 200. 2 less than 200, right? So 198. And that should give us 201. So that is the way to find explicit pattern rule. Correct? So that is how you can get your answer very fast. Now here is my formula to find explicit pattern rule, and that is kind of neat. So this is special formula, right? So let me give you special formula here. A special rule. How do we get this explicit pattern rule in a simpler way? Now the trick here is, we know that we are adding 2 each time. So 2 plays a big role. Let us see, how do we get 3 from 1? If I multiply 1 by 2, I get 1 times 2 as 2, but I need 3. So how do I get 3? Times 2 plus 1, right? So in our case, it will be times 2 plus 1. So why? Common difference is 2. So it is times the common difference. It is times the common difference. Plus how much? We need to figure it out. How? Experiment. 4 times 2 is what? 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. Do you get it? Let's try it. For 5, we get 5 times 2 is 10. But how do you get 11? Plus 1. So it is times 2 plus 1. It is working for all these. It will work for 10 also. We get 10 times 2 as 20. And how about plus 1? 21. Do you see that? So it works. So our pattern rule is also explicit pattern rule, but you can get it very fast. How? The magic number here is the common difference. So you know we are multiplying the term number by common difference. So multiply the term number by common difference and then figure out how much should you add or subtract to get the value. So try it with 1 or 2 values, you will get your formula. 3 times 2 is 6. From 6 we need to add 1 to get 7. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. So if we have n here, then n times 2 plus 1 becomes the formula for us. Do you get it? So that is how we can use our explicit formula to find the value. I hope this helps. Thank you and all the best.